That's a little G Unit Want to Get to Know You. Pick here by Trevor Caswell. I'm Karl Schoening. We're at another edition of the Sports Ramble podcast, and we're happy you joined us today. We got a good slate of things to talk about. A little Cowboys, as you can see on your screen. We're going to hit a little Houston Texans, and we're going to end it up with a little generational segment on some video games. But I'm Karl Schoening. We have Trevor Caswell over here.
Hey.
And we have Richie Boswell over there.
What up?
You know, that could be a great show, you two. You know, Caswell and Boswell.
The Kaz and Boz.
Kaz and Boz.
Kaz and Boz. I like that. I like that a lot. Well, would Brian Boswell have to sue you for copyright if you use
Brian
the name
Bosworth?
Brian Bosworth.
Yeah.
Bosworth.
You
Bosworth.
wonder, right? You wonder.
I just call him the Boz, so everybody knows him by that.
Yeah. Okay. So we're happy to get this going. You know, a little podcast. We talked about it. The three of us got to know each other at 104.9 The Horn, the new home for Texas Longhorn sports.
Yes, sir.
And
flagship station.
Yeah, you guys are busy with that, but I think this was a good little idea to kind of take the Saturday before. 14 days, is that right?
14 days.
14 days.
Man.
I'll wait for Gabby's voice to tell us how many days are left.
We'll jump right into it though, because we're here in Austin, and the two Texas teams obviously dominate, and the NFL season is 3 weeks away. So we have preseason stuff going on right now, fake football.
Yeah.
But
sadly, we still watch it though. What are we doing? Nothing else on TV.
I'm that guy who's going to be. I'm an Eagles fan, so I'm going to be that guy who's at a sports bar trying to get the Eagles game on.
Everybody hates that guy. You're over there in your corner.
I'm hoping I can find a couple other Eagles fans to get going, but we'll talk another NFC East team. Explain to me how Dallas is in the NFC East. But we'll talk about that. That's a whole other conversation.
I've done the geography for that. You know, I know who could switch with them, but so much history there, and there's no way.
Yeah,
there is.
Exactly. And it's funny. The Cowboys, obviously, they got that brand of America's team, and the rest of the Northeast is like, come on.
We were the 13 colonies over here.
And it's like a weird little. They're different from the rest of the division, so it fits well. And in the 21st century of chartered planes, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I think geography-wise, I think Carolina would switch with Dallas.
Yeah, that's a good proposal.
Yeah.
And put us in. Was that the
New Orleans, Tampa,
the Falcons?
That would.
I would love to be in that. I mean, they suck too. Both of us are struggling.
It really is a questionable division, which is why the Cowboys are kind of the favorite to come in. You have obviously the Giants, who I refuse to take seriously until Eli Manning is no longer their starting quarterback.
Well, he wants to be paid. He wants to be the highest paid. That's kind of out of nowhere.
I hope they do it. I hope they do it. Everybody else in the NFC East is like, please continue to be irrelevant.
That's fine by me. Put more money into him than on their O-line. That's fine by me. More picks for us.
Defense.
Jeez.
The whole thing.
You have Washington, who, their quarterback play is also questionable with RG3. And then the Eagles, who you really don't know what's going to happen with them, because they're just getting rid of all their good players, and they're bringing in new people. So it's going to be, does Chip Kelly's system that good? And NCAA is not quite the pros. So I'd say the division winners from last year, the Dallas Cowboys, and they have a good chance to repeat this year. They obviously lose DeMarco Murray, but they get Sean Lee back, and they add Greg Hardy, who will serve a 4-game suspension. I like their chances to win the division this year. I think it really does come down to them and the wild card Eagles.
I like Chip Kelly's up tempo. I really do. I played it in high school. I think it's
LT.
It depends just on the quarterback. I really think I liked Nick Foles. That was just my opinion. I thought Nick Foles was a better quarterback.
Such an Austin thing to say.
Yeah, well, that's such an Austin. But let's be
statistically, absolutely. Yeah.
Nick Foles was way better than Marks or anybody on that roster.
Absolutely.
So I thought if Nick Foles would have been the guy there, I think that offense would work a lot better.
Well, you want to have a good relationship with your quarterback, and I think that you bring up a great point. The quarterback with the scheme. I believe Nick Foles played in something like that before, and I think that he would mix well with Chip Kelly's offense. But you look at the most successful teams in that division, look at the quarterback and coach relationship. RG3 does not have a good relationship with his coach.
No.
And with you don't know who the starter is going to be with the Eagles. That's not good for them to be off, just off their mark within play calls and everything. Jason Garrett and Romo are like best buds. They sat on the bench together, for God's sake. So I really think the coach to quarterback chemistry is something that's going to be potent here.
Here's an interesting debate that I think everybody wants to talk about at least. Was the offensive line, the creator of DeMarco Murray's success, where he was getting a lot of big holes. So that's no doubt about that. Or was DeMarco Murray the creator of DeMarco Murray's success, who is now on the Eagles?
I think the offensive line was. And that offensive line, you got Zach Martin and a very good group of guys up there that push the pile. I think it was offensive line. I'm really curious to see how DeMarco Murray plays up in Philadelphia. I really believe it was the offensive line that created DeMarco Murray.
At any level of football, it's about winning that line of scrimmage.
Oh, yeah.
It's getting the battle in the trenches taken care of. And, but here's my question. I hear all the cocky Cowboy fans who, like last year, they were all about DeMarco Murray, and this offseason they're all about, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's very true. I mean, and you bring up a great point about the O-line, both of y'all. As a linebacker, and Richie, you were up front there. If the linemen are making it to the second level and the linebackers, that running back is going to have 3 to 4 extra yards. So a quick and physical line like the Cowboys have, they're getting to that second level really fast, and the linebackers just couldn't push out of the way. So that's why you see those big yards by DeMarco Murray. When he ran left, the linemen were getting outside of those linemen faster. So I really do think it comes down to the line.
So we have Darren McFadden, who's the projected starter, Joseph Randle, who I think most people know him mainly for the shoplifting incident, which
some underwear stealing.
Yeah. Which I kind of get the feeling he had a friend at Macy's and he needed to change his underwear or something
extra
like
pair
that.
of drawers, I guess.
Because that doesn't make sense to me. Why are you going to shoplift that? Well, that's another story. Lance Dunbar is back there, and somebody that a lot of people haven't heard of, but an FCS running back named Gus Johnson. I actually saw him play in college against Texas State, and he's actually impressive. He's a power runner. Of course, at the FCS level, it's a little different, but he's not someone to overlook either. But you're not talking about any big names, no proven names, really.
And those 3 running backs are back from injury, so that's a good thing. And they saw Gus Johnson in the first preseason game, and he also, I think he had a shoulder injury, if I'm not mistaken. So he should be back. I think he'd be fine. It was a little knick-knack injury, but Darren McFadden, man, he was just stuck in Oakland. He wants to get stuck there,
Well, and for a chance to redeem himself, he spent most of camp with, a towel around his shoulders, watching the guys work their tails off. This is the hardest part of summer for these guys, so they're over here working their butts off. He's over there with the towel around his neck saying, yeah, I got rehab after this. So
how did he get hurt again?
Apparently, is it emotional?
I forgot how he got hurt. It was something ridiculous, though. I forgot how that happened.
I mean, Randall has an aggravated oblique injury, so that's just going to be uncomfortable in the rib section. I don't know about McFadden's injury at all. I have to look into that.
Well, and then he's healthy now. So it's not a big deal. We should see him tomorrow.
And in these preseason games, it's basically to the point where they're only going to play about a game. Or not a game, a series. Only like a game worth of action through 4 games. So it's not like it's really that big of a deal if they miss a couple games, because they really just want them to be ready to go week 1.
Well, you bring up a great point. Should we as an NFL representative, of course you want these games going on. But as a player, do you really want to take those snaps and have those games going and have guys getting injured? Or would you rather go inter-squad and just cut your team from there? I mean, do you think preseason is something that we have to have?
Well, what do y'all think about this? Are y'all familiar with the USFL?
I remember, yeah.
The league that Donald Trump ruined because he eventually tried to make it a competitor against the NFL and move it towards the NFL season. Mm-hmm. I think that in order to, maybe get a little more money and eliminate these preseason games, there should be some kind of NFL summer league where, these practice squad and backup players who want to prove themselves come in and they take the risk, and you have maybe like a 6-game season in the off season. Nothing too long.
So we're talking about like Team USA and then the NBA, something like that.
Like just
the summer league.
Something summer league, like LeBron and all these guys going to play for Team USA.
Yeah, kind of like just something that lets these other guys get some reps. You get to see these guys work, and you're going to have them on your practice squad anyway. The NFL is year round at this point in terms of a job. they have to go to these OTAs, the mandatory optional,
Yeah, what is it really? I mean, is it mandatory?
Yeah, exactly. So it's one of these situations where these guys are going to be working anyway, and a lot of them want to prove themselves. And if you're an established starter, the only thing a preseason game is going to do is be a risk for injury.
Right.
So I think that would be a good chance, but that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
We're talking about that, but I don't think these preseason games mean too much because I think who your starters are. But for these second and third string guys, they're fighting for that depth opportunity to, maybe get a few more snaps.
And that's not a bad idea. I mean, I think it'd be you're talking second and some third string guys. Maybe if you're a starter, if you really want to do that.
Yeah, it's TV
but
ready.
I don't. Kind of. It's like I kind of look at a Team USA kind of thing. If you really want to take that risk, you can certainly do that.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be anything like a Tony Romo would play.
No.
And, obviously if they wanted to, but the teams would be like, no, we're not going to have you play out there.
I don't even think Tony Romo wants to play in the preseason. Why does he want to play in the summer league?
He's still feeling his back a little bit there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a great point. I believe, you make an awesome point there that TV contracts would just explode over.
And my thing is, I've visited Philadelphia with family. Every time we drive down that highway and we can look into the stadium, I keep thinking, they use that for what, 8 games a year, 10 games because you count preseason.
Otherwise, they're just playing air conditioning and concerts.
Exactly. It's like use the stadium. The taxpayers paid for it. Actually, get more events in there.
First world problems.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you see these giant stadiums, and it's like, especially when you're talking about like college football. Yeah, you play 6 games a year in there, and that's it.
Yeah.
And
can't believe you're an Eagles fan though.
Family's from Philly.
Oh well, okay, that makes
Mother
sense.
and father from
They
Philadelphia.
booed Santa though.
They didn't boo Santa. They threw snowballs at
They
him.
did throw snowballs at Santa.
That's worse.
That's cold for a whole entire area there.
That's worse.
Well, it was a terrible season at the time. But back to the Cowboys. I have a question for y'all. Does Dez maybe take off a year now that he's gotten paid? Or does he prove that he was worth that contract?
He better not. He's on my fantasy team.
He better not. He's got to prove that he's worth that contract.
If you make that kind of move in the offseason, you have everybody either hating you or loving you for what you did, then you better you got to make sure you're playing every snap.
I feel like we've seen it before, though, where it's not necessarily the hunger is gone because you've gotten your money, and the hunger returns when that guaranteed part of that money is about to dry up, and you want to keep that contract going. So sometimes they do play up to that level, and sometimes they kind of take off a little bit. So I think that'll be something to watch. I think Dez has that questionable personality.
He does. But I think he needs to get out there on that field.
Yeah.
I still think he needs to get out there. I mean, it is what it is, and you got to be worth that money. I mean, you got to.
Well, I mean, you're chasing money. First of all, you got your money now. Now it's time for the record books. You got to go after Randy Moss. You got to go after every single person in that Hall of Fame, because how else are we going to remember you? We're not going to remember you as the biggest contract ever or was it a catch. We're going to remember you as what stats you posted for the Cowboys and maybe even get a Super Bowl.
Throwing up the X. You're going to remember him for that. He was on
Creating
Rolling
a brand.
Stone.
Oh, God. We're going back throwing up the X. Okay.
Hey, that's what people know him for.
I know, right?
They're like, is that the guy who puts his arms out?
We have a promo at the station, and the first thing it says is throwing up the X. I'm like,
are you losing your mind over there?
I'm losing my hair.
It is a little cheesy. I mean,
but no, it's good. It's a good.
It's a brand.
It's a pretty good
it's
promo.
all about branding yourself. So
y'all remember Terrence Williams? He's the right side receiver. Do you think him and Cole Beasley will get some stuff going?
I like Terrence Williams.
We need somebody. We need somebody to step up this year, though. I mean, when we had Miles Austin, he took over. Terrence Williams essentially took over for him. We need somebody to step up in Terrence's spot because they're going to start double covering Dez, and then Terrence is going to get the ball. They're going to double cover him. Cole Beasley's that third down kind of guy that's just clutch.
Good slot
but we need somebody to step up behind these guys because somebody may go down. Cowboys have a lot of injuries. I mean, that's what they're known for. So,
yeah, and that's honestly the key to every NFL offseason or season in general. Stay healthy and get healthy. And now we talk about the defensive side of the ball. The Will linebacker, Sean Lee comes back and missed them all last season, and that defense I think they finished 32nd in the league, if I'm not mistaken.
My goodness. It's because of Kiffin's defense, man. I mean, he's outdated. We got Rod, right?
I was wondering why Monty Kiffin was brought over to Dallas.
Yeah.
Because he just got fired from USC, and then look how that turned out.
Yeah, it was an interesting call for sure.
Like, why are you bringing Monty Kiffin over? So, look, Sean Lee's back, very important. I mean, but Justin Durant's gone. There's a couple of guys that you wonder if
Rolando McClain is suspended for 4 games.
That's big. You wonder if your defensive backs, what their first round draft pick.
Byron Jones.
Byron Jones.
Yeah, with a shoulder
injury.
I think he'll be fine. I really do. I think he's just got a little, roughed up there. But our defense has definitely gotten better. I think Stephen Jones is doing an outstanding job in these drafts. Getting Byron Jones, probably the most athletic corner I've ever seen because he can play safety as well. And Morris Claiborne, he better freaking step it up this year.
6th overall pick a couple years ago, and he hasn't done much.
He's getting money. Brandon Carr's making mad money.
That's the one I was thinking
that guy's killing our our salary cap. Oh man.
Yeah, Brandon Carr's on the left side corner, and Byron Jones is listed as backup on this depth chart that I'm looking at, and that's going to be the key to secondary, and especially in a league that's progressing more towards a passing league. It's going to be a big deal to get that secondary straight. You can ask almost anybody in that division, what's your biggest weakness, and it's probably going to be the secondary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and a way to help out the secondary is going to come on that defensive line. We got Henry Melton coming back from an ACL injury. Big. Greg Hardy's going to be big after the suspension's up. We have, in addition, we got Randy Gregory, and we also have Jack Crawford. I mean, we got guys returning to the O-line that are going to put pressure on the quarterback. And not to mention DeMarcus Lawrence from last year.
Yeah,
he was awesome.
Yeah, Tyrone Crawford, Nick Hayden down the middle, and DeMarcus Lawrence. DeMarcus Lawrence I think he could be really good.
Oh, you remember that play where he made up for he did not jump on the ball, he tried to pick it up like every single rookie would, and he missed it. They recovered and caused a fumble the next play, and we recovered. But those are just those rookie mistakes that he won't be making this year. So I think overall, we got a veteran line coming back, and we're going to put some pressure on that quarterback.
You guys want to know something else that's interesting that could play into the Cowboys' favor? The fact that if this Tom Brady suspension is held up, Cowboys are game number 4. It's week 5, but they have a bye week the week before.
Right.
So essentially, this that could be very big in the sense that. Sure, Greg Hardy's not going to be there, but neither will Tony Romo.
Right.
Or not Tony Romo,
Tom Brady. Yeah. I mean, I really like our schedule this year, and I really think having a good early season is so crucial because we know we're mixing it up.
Yeah.
Tony Romo in November is pretty much unstoppable. I mean, he posts the best QBR in the league. And I can't wait to see him in November. So get those early wins because once November is there, he's rolling.
Gotta avoid those turnovers.
Oh, man.
Gotta avoid those turnovers.
If he did what he did last year, I don't think we'll have to
worry.
worry.
Yeah, last year, nobody thought he would do what he did last year.
How old is Jason Witten? Is he going to fall off anytime soon? He's the best route runner in the league, I think. But, he's still that old man athleticism kind of thing going for him. How much longer is that going to, the route running going to be good in a young man's league?
Well, he ruptured his spleen last year early on. Yeah, he was out for a couple games, but he came back and he was back in his form because he's that third down guy. You put a will linebacker on him, he won't be able to touch him. Witten falls forward every time. He's going to get that first down. I give him 2 or 3 years. He is getting old, though.
Galvin Escobar is the other tight end. You think he's going to have a bigger year?
I think they're still going to stick with Witten. I'm hoping he does better than he did.
Oh, and we got Chase Hanna. Is it Hanna?
James
Hanna is also. So him and Escobar is a good rotation for Witten. If he is getting older and he is starting to get tight in those legs, those are good guys that I would definitely put out there for a blocking scheme because Witten can block as well. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, if we don't need him out there, put those guys in there.
You want Escobar and Hanna to do the dirty work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you're a younger guy, you're going out there in the trenches. Mm-hmm. Let the captain sit back. So I think Witten's got a couple of years left in him.
I think that's going to be a fun thing to check out. How is the offense going to adjust? Because DeMarco Murray was a huge part of that offense, and once you take away the packing of the box that he actually kind of brought at times, that makes it a little harder for Tony Romo. So is Romo capable of having an MVP caliber season similar to last year?
That was big. And the running, and that was also huge because DeMarco Murray, he would drain the clock. Every time he had, obviously when you get tackled in the field, the clock keeps going, and that was huge, making the game a lot shorter. So it was obviously something that Romo could rely on, whereas in the past it wasn't really there. They got Zach Martin and all that stuff down low. That has been big. I'm saying down low. It's pretty probably like the NBA here in the trenches. That's a better way of saying it.
Yeah, they made a great stat last year that I think Garrett paid attention to is when DeMarco Murray gets the ball over 20 times a game, they were a perfect 10-0, something ridiculous. So whenever you have that, and especially when you do play action pass, you're able to go with Dez over the top, or you just pass it out to DeMarco with a short little bubble, and he is so good in the open field with that stiff arm. That's probably why he broke his hand. That stiff arm is deadly. So him in the open field, when you have an over-the-top threat, he's got those yards. He's going to eat up the clock like Richie said. It's just a great balance to have. You got two threats, one in the backfield, one over top.
So week 1, they got the Giants, and I think that's a good time to see the Giants. They start off with 2 division foes because they're at Philadelphia for week 2. I kind of like their schedule because you have some people who have some questions to answer that include the Falcons and the Saints after that. And like I said, the Patriots are there and they might not have Tom Brady. So this could be a good start of the season for the Dallas Cowboys because right after the Patriots, they have the Giants again. The Seahawks will be a tough one, and we're going to have to see how the Seahawks collect themselves. And by week 9, when they play the Eagles again, the Eagles will be back together. They play the Buccaneers after that, and we'll see if Jameis Winston has caught his stride and built chemistry with Mike Evans.
Well, and it looks like Tom Brady will be back for the Cowboys.
You think so?
Well, it's the Giants, Eagles, Falcons, and Saints. That's the first 4 weeks.
But they have a bye.
The Patriots have a bye.
They have a bye, yeah.
In there.
I got excited. Trust me. I got excited, too. I was like, man, Brady's going to be here. I wish I could get tickets to that. I've never actually been to a Cowboys game.
Okay, so the Patriots have that bye.
I would love to see that live, man. 2 great quarterbacks. Exactly. But you pay attention to the schedule. What's beautiful is we're at the Eagles in September when it's warm. We're at the Giants in October when it's warm. So I would like to stay out of the snow because we play in a nice little perfect 70-degree stadium.
You're gonna be out of luck though towards the end of the year though.
But they're out of our division. That's what
you're gonna be at Green Bay and then at Buffalo.
Yeah.
In the last second. Yeah, that could be a snowy winter for you.
December 7th against Washington too.
That's awesome.
In Washington.
Right.
Man, you're gonna be in Florida though for November.
Yeah, we're gonna be getting a tan in Florida because last year we had to play Philadelphia at home in a freezing cold environment. We had to play Giants at home late in the season. So those were 2 games that I was definitely skeptical of because DeMarco holding the ball with a broken hand, Romo in the cold, aching already. The cold does not do well for these teams that play in the South. They struggle.
We'll have to see what happens. I assume that they would probably stay in Florida that week that they have the Buccaneers on the 15th of November and the Dolphins the 22nd of November. You think there would be much of a point to go all the way back to Texas for a few days just to come back to Florida? I think that's not unheard of.
Not unheard of. Yeah. But it's not a big flight either. I could probably say maybe the Patriots going over to San Diego.
Yeah, the Patriots
next week going
that.
to the 49ers or the Seahawks.
Right.
But Dallas to Florida, that's probably not a very big deal.
But it's a great point.
That's a good point.
Staying out there in the humidity.
Stay in Miami, get used to the humidity.
You're in the open air, yeah.
Bam, get used to that.
And I think there's a difference between practicing at home where you have some downtime and practicing on the road where it's very much a business trip.
Exactly. You just go back to laying in your bed. Otherwise, you're watching film with the team. You're eating with the team. It's a great time, especially if they come off with a loss against the Eagles to kind of get their heads ready for the Panthers coming after the fact. So it's a good chance for them to play some weaker teams and get some team bonding going back into the Panthers, Redskins, and especially Green Bay because you know that they're going to be a formidable opponent.
It's going to get cold up there, too.
It's going to be cold.
Panthers, the Thanksgiving Day game?
I like it. I love watching Cowboys on Thanksgiving.
Of course you love it.
And that looks like a win right there.
Name one receiver in Carolina. Name one.
They got rid of him.
Well, Calvin Benjamin's gone.
I know, he's gone. Name one of them.
Yeah. Don't know him.
And Cam Newton can sometimes be a little bit spotty.
Yeah, especially with his attitude. He has an attitude issue, and I think towards the middle of the season, it depends on how they do. Defensively, they're great, but if he's not doing well, I think that he and his attitude is going to tank their season.
Hopefully Luke Kuechly does something big.
Yeah, that guy was awesome to watch,
Hopefully
man.
he does something big in that game.
He was fun to watch last year.
Would y'all like to end the Cowboys segment on some predictions, how they do in their 16-game schedule?
I think right off the bat, I think there'll be 3-2. I'm serious. I think the Falcons and the Saints are going to beat them.
What?
I'm taking the Falcons and the Saints.
So through the first five, they'll still end with
3-2, and then then you got the Giants and the Seahawks and the Eagles. This could be. I think towards the end, especially towards the end, I think the first couple of games, maybe the first 8 games, are going to be the hardest, and then right after that Seattle game, I mean, you're in a. Besides Green Bay, you're in open land. I mean, you could win every single game there.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah. And Buffalo could be problematic just because it's cold. Could be some snow, but I think you can handle the Bills.
Yeah, any given Sunday though. But I agree. So do you have a overall record prediction? Just a prediction. We're not going to hold you to it. You like to count it up real quick?
I'll say 10-6.
You want to go with 10 wins?
11. I'll say 10-6, 11-5. I think it'll be fine.
I mean, I'm going to agree with you on that because I don't think we'll have a problem with our division, but our overall record, is going to be 10-6, 11-5 because looking at, you got the Seahawks coming a couple games after the Patriots. I mean, it's a pretty it doesn't look like a streaky schedule where we can hit a lot of wins in a row or a lot of losses. I think it's going to be a challenge every single week, so
I'll go with that 9 to 11 game range because I think the Cowboys are definitely going to be above 500, if not 8-8. There was that streak of 3 years where they were 8-8.
Oh
and
my
last
gosh,
year broke it.
It was awful.
Every
man.
team had the Redskins, then it was I think the Giants, and then the Eagles. Every team won before the Cowboys finally got their chance.
It was ridiculous.
So I think it was every year they had the winner go home game and they lost it. I mean, in that little span.
Yeah, no, I think Romo played in one of those or 2 of those.
I mean, it was 2 of those, but
because Kyle Orton was there that 1 year.
Yeah. And we almost won. God, man, I was driving to the airport listening to the game. I think I almost got a wreck because I was so frustrated. I heard him throw a pick. I was pissed. It was so close to the playoffs every year.
So for the preseason prediction, we're saying that it's going to be a winning season for the Cowboys. That's fair.
10-win season is a good little area for them, yes.
And I don't think anybody in the NFC East has potential to really win that 12-plus range game.
No.
I mean, I think the Eagles might, but we're still...
Because
they threatened last year. They were threatening last year.
Coming on later.
Shockingly, Mark Sanchez actually did pretty... I thought he did pretty decently after after what's happened with the Jets.
Here's my scary thing about the Eagles, and we'll just wrap this up here's in a moment, but in the entire time that Chip Kelly's been there, I have not seen a complete game by that offense. It usually has a good quarter, has a bad quarter, has a good quarter, has a bad quarter,
sure.
Bad half, good half kind of thing. And I want to see them drop 80 something. That's a good game, full game for the offense because
You're talking plays. You're talking how many plays per game.
I'm talking points.
Oh, man.
I'm talking.
We're talking basketball
points.
scores.
Oh, I mean, last year against the it's going to have to be against a bad team. But last year against the Jaguars, I think they put up around 34 and a half. And I think they didn't do anything before that. In fact, I remember the first 3 series they didn't do anything because I had Nick Foles on my fantasy team, and I remember the tweet. It was Nick Foles fantasy stats: 3 offensive series, -3 points, frowny face.
Nice.
But then he got better.
Frowny face.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks for that. Double whammy.
Man, that makes me feel better.
Yeah, I mean, you make a great point, and we can wrap this up. But, yeah, if the offense clicks behind a scheme like that, you can go up on somebody big and not even have to worry about defense. You can kind of just relax and just keep scoring your points and just shut them down.
The Chip Kelly offense in the NFL has been a roller coaster because it's been good, it's been bad. There have been 1 minute, 2 minute real time 3 and outs, and then there have been 1 minute, 2 minute touchdowns, 80 yards in 8 plays. So that's just what you're gonna get with that offense. And I don't know if something like that will ever really be able to be consistent, unless you get some star power behind it. And I don't know what stars you would want there because Michael Vick kind of fit it real well, but he couldn't hold on to the football.
No.
And Johnny Manziel would be cool, but the Browns are intent to mess up his career. So
Fine by me.
we'll have to see how that goes. But Chip Kelly would love Johnny Manziel.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we'll move on then. Go to the other Texas team, the Houston Texans, who they're featured on Hard Knocks, and I was kind of, you don't like them?
I like them.
Oh no, I was about to say Richie loves them.
I like them.
Yeah. I didn't quite catch that, but yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Like I'll be honest with you, I saw the first half of the first episode of Hard Knocks, and I sent out a snap that was pretty funny about it was when Arian Foster tweaked his groin, and Coach O'Brien found out, and he just dropped an F-bomb, and I thought it was funny. I sent that out as a snap.
That was hilarious. He dropped 12 of them in that first episode.
Oh, well, here's the funny thing. I stopped watching that episode, and then I turned it off, and I was in the computer room the next morning, and my mom turned on the TV, and all of a sudden, he's just cursing up a storm. Like, literally, that was the next scene where he just keeps dropping all these bombs. I'm like, oh. It's like, sorry about that.
Sorry about that, Mom. Cussing before 8 a.m. Not allowed.
So that's how that goes. But, obviously you have probably, I think it's fair to say, the best player in the NFL in J.J. Watt. I think he's
got a 99 rating in Madden 15. I know that's, or Madden 60. I know that's.
Is that because of his number? I mean,
I know that's not related.
Conspiracy theory.
But yes, he was ranked number 1 by his peers.
And he's done something that I think there was something about, like, a defensive player getting 6+ touchdowns. Like, it hadn't happened since the 1940s. And it was like only halfway through the season when he had gotten that mark. He's well worth that $100 million contract. We were talking about Dez earlier getting paid, and was he going to live up to it? Is he going to fall short of it? And this guy has exceeded expectations.
JJ's wow.
They booed him when he got drafted. That's what's funny.
That was what was hilarious.
That's what's funny.
I honestly was.
That's the epitome of the NFL draft. People don't know what they're getting.
And then
they really don't.
JJ has put his work in. You saw it in the first episode of Hard Knocks. That's no lie. Whatever he's doing out after practice.
When the cameras are off, that is what he's doing.
That's what he's doing.
Yep.
He's catching passes. He's getting ready.
He does one-handed jugs every day after practice with the receivers for 25 minutes. I promise you, I was there all last year. Never skips a beat. He's out there doing extra work.
1,000-pound tire 65 times in a day is what he said. He was like, I was in beast mode that day, but like
beast mode.
I just happened to be in beast mode. Yeah, I feel like he's got that button turned on all year, every day.
Yeah, he was like, when I started, it was like 32 flips, and then I got up to 55. I didn't think I could top that, and then I did like 65 last week.
I mean,
like,
even last year in the Falcons Hard Knocks. Remember, saw that? I mean, they had one segment ready for J.J. Watt because they knew he was coming.
I mean, you have to. He's got such a great personality. He's a guy you want to stick on a Wheaties box. He's your guy that, as a PR person, you want to stick him in front of the media every time because he's going to say something that puts your team in a good light.
He was dating some like gorgeous blonde or something like that.
I think it was Caroline Wozniacki.
And it was like...
Richie just pulls that right off the bat.
I think that was like recently at the NCAA tournament they were spotted together.
It was Caroline Wozniacki. But she was dating Roy McIlroy.
Who? Oh.
I think. We don't have any confirmation.
The girl he called to break off the engagement, he called her on the phone to break off the engagement. I mean, Roy McIlroy. And he went on to win like 3 majors after that. But he called her.
Oh, wow.
And broke up with her. Broke off the engagement. I've never heard of that. That's crazy.
I remember she
is gorgeous.
Wozniacki was saying at some point, it's like, it's okay, I wanted to date someone taller anyway.
Oh, yeah. She's more of an athlete than he is.
Go to J.J. Watt, who's like 6'8".
Yeah.
That doesn't make me feel good.
Yeah, they're going to have the most athletic children ever if they do.
Oh, I have not seen them together.
But J.J., like, this is my point with that. He like doesn't have a girlfriend during the season. Like it's like that's how crazy dedicated
football
he is.
Is life.
He's like, I'll have fun in the off season, but no, it's like I'm too busy to worry about that.
Is that something that you respect?
Would you
if he's on my team, I like it.
Yeah. I think he got $100 million.
Yeah, I mean he's making great money.
He's making.
You have to pay the man that much to keep him.
I know that.
And NFL careers. I mean, this guy will probably play until he's like in his mid-30s, but still, if you're a multi-millionaire at that point, you're
smart with your money.
Some people were saying that he got underpaid.
Oh, well,
And
I
I
mean,
was like-
in NFL standards, what do you think? Do you think he deserves to be paid more than a top quarterback?
If there was a salary cap situation, then you have to really mess around with
Yeah.
that. But if we're talking before the salary cap was implemented, he'd probably get some ridiculous number.
Oh yeah,
You
because
know?
these NFL teams got a lot stowed in the bank. They're not maxing out on just the salary cap. They have so much more to spend. That's just how the league works. So I think he'd make a lot more money.
And let's be honest here. I mean, this is another conversation, but we're talking about the NFL Players Association just got the worst deal you could imagine. $120 million, that kind of raises a few years in a $9 billion industry, for 53 players or something like that. Obviously the quarterbacks are going to get handled, but everybody else, you have the J.J. Watt and you have the Ndamukong Sues.
Everybody else is in and out in 2 years. These guys they're putting their bodies
Look
on
at
the line,
Seattle. Look
just
at
like
their
everybody
corners.
else. Yeah.
They had a load of corners. One of them had to go.
Yeah,
They
Byron
paid-
Maxwell's over there. And
Yeah.
is it Cam Chancellor who's holding out right now?
I think Cam Chancellor's the
Oh,
one
he's
holding.
so good. Hold out. I don't care, man.
They-
He is awesome.
They had to pay somebody. They had to pay Russell. They had to pay Sherman.
They paid their middle linebacker, right?
Maxwell. No, who is it?
I'm pretty sure they did, but that's the thing about a salary cap here. The NBA, that's fair. That's $70 million for 12 players.
But could you? I know, but isn't in the NBA, in order to get over the cap, you have to. It would be like a sign. Let's say you can't just sign somebody outright as a free agent. I'm just asking for this.
For sure, I can answer.
But in order,
Let's go to Schoening on this
so
one,
I'm saying,
please.
you can't just sign a free agent right out. You'd have to do like a sign and trade. If
So-
you wanted to be over the cap.
Yeah, basically, what NBA has is like a soft cap, so it's like 70 million right now. I think it's around 70 million, and you can't sign anybody over that, except they won't let you restrict you. So there's the mid-level exception, which is like the average salary of an NBA player, which is like 6.5 million right now. You can offer that as a first-year contract to anybody, basically. So say, a team over the salary cap wanted to go after a free agent that would be in that price range or maybe, agreeable to come at that price. It starts at that point, then it goes up. And every year you can sign somebody to that. But if you're in the this is just NBA. I don't know what the NFL is. But if you're like over the tax line, that mid-level exception goes down to half of that.
Well, that's the thing. Like, would you be okay with the NFL adopting something like this?
I'm actually someone who's thinking that the NFL should not have a salary cap just because those are such short careers. In the case that those players need to get as much money as they can for, a game that they've been playing since they were kids that is not healthy to play.
Yeah, the injuries that they sustain are going to be coming in the years afterwards. You got guys like Earl Campbell who have to get wheelchaired around nowadays because of the way that he ran the ball. Granted, he ran the ball how he wanted to, but the league forced him to run like that. You got to do what's successful, even if it hurts your body.
Yeah, and we're talking about something where these, people say these professional athletes shouldn't get paid this much money. I can pretty much guarantee you that, I'm not saying you individually who's listening, but there's a good chance that they work harder at their craft than you do. You know?
Oh yeah, when you're sitting in your little cubicle, and whoever's a hard worker out there, I love you for it. Do what you're doing the hardest you can. But if you're sitting in a cubicle ragging on these guys for making too much money, I would dare you to throw on some pads and do an Oklahoma drill because somebody's going on their back.
That's scary.
Oklahoma drill is not something to mess around with, and they do it to prepare.
They put you on your back, and then you got to get up.
You got to get up. Yeah, it is a brawl.
It's a brawl. And then if you don't get up in time, if you're not quick enough, that running back's going to get smacked behind you.
Exactly. So it's
even,
fighter, know. Yeah.
Exactly. And even if you don't have any major injuries in your career, when you hit that, 5 years after retirement, you're still a little creaky, It's just what happens when you run your body that much. These people who, criticize them don't understand that they're not in an industry where you go out there and you can tear your ACL and you might never be able to play again.
Right.
So it's a situation where you get your money when you can. But also, I think another part of it is they shouldn't get all of their money at once, I feel like, because it's not good for some of them.
It is not
a
good.
lot of them.
They don't know how to invest. Their agents are idiots. They're their best friends in some instances. There has been, 90% of these guys are bankrupt in 10 years or whatever. There is not a good statistic for these players because most of them come from humble backgrounds. The second they get money, they're like, I'm getting new shoes. I got a friend who needs help. They're not putting it in the places to protect it. They're spending it.
And they're buying gold chains for themselves, for
goodness.
their boys. They have
Yes.
people that they never talked to since like the 7th grade. Hey, we were buddies, And some of them are just such nice guys. Some of them are like, get away from me. But you're going to have a lot of hands coming out for you. You ever see that 30 for 30 broke?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was very, very disappointing.
But like at the same time, it was kind of interesting to hear, like, that's just how these guys are.
Yeah.
My favorite part of Ballers, Aaron Hogan doesn't like Ballers at all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm there.
But I watch it because it's 30 minutes long. It's entertaining. I like The Rock.
I love The Rock.
You're not going to have any really dark things that you can expect from like True Detective. You're going to deal with these, we were partying and this girl took pictures of us situations. You know what I mean? It's like, and we shouldn't have been doing what we were doing. It's like, that's their situations they got to deal with. They're not going to deal with, this guy, killed my girlfriend. I got to go after him kind of thing.
Right.
Like that's just kind of their lifestyle. It's unrelatable in a way.
You can't relate to these guys. Every time they go out to even go shopping at the store, they're going to have some little kid or some teenager coming up to them and just violating their privacy in a good way, but just you're constantly being haunted by your crowds everywhere you go. So I can't possibly understand how it is to live like these guys, but it comes with the money. You've got to just accept what you're getting with the job that you have.
It's even crazier in the social media era where we're talking about, these fans who they have a lot to say and they, they'll say some good things, but out of the blue, you'll get someone who just tweets you something you don't even want to think about. It's just like, I hope you tear your ACL next game.
Oh, man.
And that happens, And it's just like, anytime I even think about that, I rub my knees and I'm like, no, don't worry. Don't worry. It's okay. I don't want them to ever experience that because that's
knock
painful.
On wood. Yeah, Richie knows about that. The texters online, man, they can kill you. And they don't know one thing about you, but they can tell you everything that you're doing bad right now.
First day, man. First day working at the Horn. They told me to go downtown and get on the Frostbank building and jump on it.
You laugh at it now, but at the time you're like, wait, really?
Say it to my face.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm like, thanks. I'm like, yeah, just watch the 6 o'clock news. I'll be on there.
Yeah. So, Karl and I talked about it in a show one time. We were talking about Xbox people, being behind the mic. You don't know what people look like. You got some third grader cussing you out. It's like, if you were right here in front of me, would you really say that?
Oh, exactly.
No, they wouldn't, because we have a sense of respect in person, but you hide behind the screen, you can say anything you want.
Yeah, well, we have an interesting conversation right there, but let's get back to the Texans.
Yeah. Sorry.
Where did we go?
we kind of got away from that. We like talking a little bit right there, but what do y'all think about their quarterback situation? Brian Hoyer is their starter, and this is I'll full disclosure right now. My college football team is Texas State, but I enjoy all college football.
Right.
So I have no real bias against Johnny Manziel. I watched as many Browns games as I could last year, extremely frustrated with Brian Hoyer, who played just good enough to keep Johnny Manziel on the sidelines, until eventually they had to say, sorry, we can't put up this charade anymore. Now he's their starter, and I don't think that's a good situation for Texas.
I want to see the situation, again, different situation. That was Cleveland. He's in Houston now. I think maybe a better group. I get DeAndre Hopkins, maybe some new guys coming in that maybe can contribute.
They will need new guys. That's all they've got.
Yeah.
That's
so
all they have.
I want to know. I want to see if maybe this is just new attitude. Let's see if Brian Hoyer can do it, or a guy like Ryan Mallett.
Yeah, Ryan Mallett's listed at the second string at this point, but at this point, I don't think they've selected a
No,
starter.
they haven't. No, and tomorrow and today, actually, Texans play preseason. Mallett is expected to start, and Hoyer is expected to get more reps.
Well, they both have experience with Bill O'Brien. Hoyer, I believe at Penn State had a little bit of experience with him. Maybe not.
Well, that's the thing.
Hoyer,
That's the thing. They all have. No,
They've
Hoyer
all
was
worked-
at Michigan State.
Was it Michigan State? Okay.
Yeah, wasn't Hoyer the backup for Tom Brady,
Yeah, so-
and that's like why they were giving him.
Mallett-
This is why Hoyer. I think Hoyer and Mallett now are with Bill O'Brien. Not to say it wasn't bad. I'm not saying he was with Pettin last year. It doesn't matter. You got to perform regardless.
Right.
It doesn't matter your coach. I'm just saying that Bill O'Brien and Ryan Mallett and Brian Hoyer, Ryan Mallett, and Bill O'Brien all have
the connection
with each other. That whole freaking roster, most of that Vince Wilfork from the Patriots. That whole team.
The coaching staff.
Coaching staff is from the Patriots.
Yeah.
Of course, Bill Belichick's coaching. The coaches that have been under Bill Belichick.
It's the Belichick family.
Have not had the greatest success as head coaches, but I like Bill O'Brien. I think he can. Right now, 9-7 to start off.
He's a fiery guy. He's that guy that you loved in high school. The guy that just got down your throat, made you feel awful, but you know you'd perform for him every single time like you're his adopted son. You're always trying to prove something to him. Always trying to go out there and make good plays, and knowing that you're not really good enough for him, but he appreciates all the work that you do.
They had a big offseason pickup in Vince Wilfork to add on to that defensive line. I think that makes them very formidable with J.J. Watt next to him. And also, we're going to see Jadeveon Clowney come back. And they have him listed on the outside linebacker at this point. That's a scary thought.
Yeah.
That's a really scary thought that you could put him anywhere in that kind of front seven.
He's got to give he's first overall pick. You better get something out of him. So, I mean, you really don't. Their linebacking core can be. Although Whitney Merciless played really well last year.
Brian Cushing.
I'm talking outside linebacker. Brian Cushing's inside.
Yeah.
I'm talking outside Whitney Merciless did a really good job filling in for him last year, but. He's a number 1 overall pick. You better get something out of him. So I'm rooting for him. I hope he does a really good job this year.
Me too. What was it? It wasn't Achilles.
No, it was knee. It was the knee surgery. He had to get
his medial condyle and the medial condyle.
He had to get micro.
It was a microfracture
surgery. Yeah, and that obviously kept him out the whole year. So.
Yeah, that's one of those things that it's a nice quick fix, and you'll be able to perform athletically the next 5-6 years, but eventually that's a ticking time bomb.
I wonder if it's kind of like, I'm going off topic here. Greg Oden. Look at Greg Oden.
I would compare it to Amari Stoudemire. Amari had 3 of those microfracture surgeries, and he was still fine.
They just keep coming back.
But now look at Amari. He doesn't have those ups anymore.
The Knicks really messed that up. But
and your knee is so crucial. I mean, Jadeveon knows this now, but at the time in college, he probably didn't even know it when he was running a 4.4.
And it's a really high impact sport on your knees.
Right.
You know, like basketball is one thing, but this is a collision sport. It
seemed to happen when he was not doing it. I don't think he was doing anything. I don't think it wasn't a contact thing. He just stepped on it wrong or something. His knee buckled.
It's a pressure thing, actually.
Pressure.
Yeah, it's inside of your knee. It's not somebody coming to try to block you down below. It's you running and putting impact on that knee.
It's just like stepping on it the wrong way, and sometimes it can be a little tweak in the knee.
Yeah.
You know, so sometimes you feel like, oh, geez, that felt worse than it really ended up being, and then sometimes it's worse than it felt like it was. You know, I think there was a player, I can't remember who it was, who actually played a game on a torn ACL and didn't realize it until after the game.
Yeah.
I can't remember who it was, but sometimes
you hear about that
happens
all the time, yeah.
And you know, I think there are players who don't even realize that they've torn their meniscus, and it's like, okay, your knee is bothering you, let's check it out. You
by
need
the
surgery
way,
on this.
You need a scope. Yeah, I mean, it's. I always tell people it's bone on bone. It's like driving a car without shocks, because every single impact that you have without what Jadeveon was missing, he was missing some cartilage in there to help out that knee, to help out those microfractures. It's like driving a car without any shocks. Every bump you hit, you're gonna feel it.
I'm hoping that linebacker position stays healthy, because looking at their roster and looking at the linebacker they have right now, they've got Brian Cushing, great player, obviously very fiery, but they have Mike Muhammad. You know, that it's who's going to play alongside Brian. That was the weakest spot in that defense, was linebacker.
Right.
And if Cushing gets hurt, then you've got Jeff Tarpinian coming out of right.
He's a special teams guy. He's got some speed.
He's one of your special teams guys.
Justin Tuggle's very good. I like Tuggle a lot. I mean, that when you're missing Cush, especially a veteran in that position, and as big as he is, that dude is huge. I question his, I have definitely questioned whether he's taken steroids before because of how big he is. I'm like, this guy is massive. So to have him plugging in there behind such a potent defensive line, you definitely wonder if he goes down, who's going to fill in a role such as that. You know, he fills it very well.
Because I like what they've got back in their defensive backs. They have Kareem. They've got Kareem Jackson, Jonathan Joseph, Stevie Brown, and Raheem Moore. I think it's great. And then you got Kevin Johnson backing them up.
Right.
So I like that. But the linebacker spot, what is that?
You don't have to worry about DJ Swearinger anymore. He'll come in with the big hits, but he'll get burned over
that
top.
That defense didn't fit his style.
No, it really
he's
didn't.
now in Tampa. That didn't fit his style.
Yeah.
So, I mean.
Well, you know, the kind of interesting question for them right now is the running back position. Arian Foster, they thought it was going to be worse with a, I think, torn groin was
the first
initial diagnosis, and now it's just a hernia,
which is good.
Which is weeks. So we'll see if they maybe even hold him out week 1 just to be safe, because he's always doing something to his body, you know, straining things or pulling something. So I think
and a good reliable backup too.
Yeah. So Alfred Blue is going to be the starter at the moment.
Good, reliable guy, though.
And Jonathan Grimes is right behind him. So, and Chris Polk, who I believe he was on the Eagles not too long ago, and then I think he moved over to another team before stopping here in Houston. So, you know, he's not someone who wasn't unproductive. I don't think he was anything special, but maybe, you never know if he gets a chance. Running back position, Arian Foster's obviously pretty good. At one point led the league in touchdowns, but we're talking about a dime a dozen position that you know, if something doesn't work out, you can find somebody else that you might want to give a shot to that could probably be just as productive as any of these guys that are playing behind Foster.
And Jonathan Grimes, I think the running back depth is solid, but I think they were playing Kenny Hilliard more than they were with than Jonathan Grimes and Chris Polk. So I think both LSU guys were playing before Jonathan Grimes and Chris Polk were. And then, of course, receiver-wise, you had Cecil Shorts, another good guy over from Jacksonville. I like him. He got a touchdown in the first preseason game.
There you go.
Tight ends need to work on it a little bit. Garrett Graham and CJ.
Garrett Graham's our guy.
Garrett Graham is the guy. I think last year he was hurt.
He was hurt a little bit, but I mean, he had to fill in for T.O. I always call him T.O. I'll think of his name. He went over to Baltimore with their coach. Owen Daniels. Why do I call him T.O.?
Owen Daniels. And now Owen Daniels
OD.
with Denver. He went over with Kubiak again, I think.
He keeps following Kubiak. So, I mean, Bill O'Brien definitely uses those tight ends for blocking, but Garrett Graham, if they're going to throw the ball, they're going to throw it to him, not to CJ.
That's who they're playing today, obviously.
Right.
So, offensive line also needs to work on it. Derek Newton had a better year last year, but the year before, people were wondering if he was even going to be back.
Yeah.
So
his mobility has improved.
Yes, and I like Ben Jones at center. That's his natural position. He was playing guard last year.
Right.
He's now at center. Dwayne Brown, obviously, Pro Bowl guy.
Xavier Suafilo is a guy that knows every single one of those positions. I think he's going to fill in well.
Let's hope he does. And Brandon Brooks, big guy.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I think schedule-wise, they've got a tough schedule out the gate. But I really think they'll settle in once they start playing, and I see them getting 9 to 10 wins.
Week 1 against the Chiefs.
Ouch.
They're at North Carolina. They play the Panthers. They have Week 3 Bucks at Atlanta. You know, I don't really see anything too bad taking on the NFC South right there in your 3 or first 4 games, because those are teams that have a lot of question marks.
Right.
But used to be a very.
I favor the Falcons more than I think most people do. I think they're a very good team.
Looking at the schedule, Patriots, Saints, maybe Bengals.
Well, you got the Colts in their division.
Yeah, but ouch. Other than that, you've got a very sketchy NFC South.
The middle of the schedule looks beautiful. Jaguars, Dolphins, Titans, Bengals, Jets, Saints. That's a lot of wins right there.
At the very end, you finish with Titans and Jags, and of course, depending on how Marcus Mariota played, didn't play very well in his first preseason game. That could be pretty easy.
Yeah.
I think we still need to watch and see what Brian Hoyer does.
Yes.
That's going to be the
It'll
main
all
thing.
depend on the quarterback for sure. Quarterback and running back, defense, they're fine.
Yeah. Oh, defense.
Their defense will win them games.
Defense, yeah. No doubt about that.
You know who they should have signed? Tim Tebow.
Oh my gosh.
Why not? I think
because
Tebow
I would rather see
Hoyer.
him commentating on games than playing them. I would want him to be a Jesse Palmer, just without Jesse Palmer's career.
Tim Tebow.
Hey. This is how I look at it, and it's funny that they're on the same team now. I always said Sam Bradford is a good quarterback. He's a talented quarterback, but he's not a winning quarterback.
No.
And Tim Tebow isn't a good quarterback, but he's a winning quarterback. Like, there's an X factor. There's something that you can't.
There's
magic
irony.
That's caught.
There's irony in the NFL.
I just don't. Tebow's the only guy that can sit there and say, I want a playoff game.
Oh, I know.
And that's it. I don't know, man. I don't know if I want to get on that train.
Like, here's the thing. Kyle Orton, who everybody says was a solid quarterback. I think, there's a team that's upset that he retired because they thought that he was going to, who was it, the Bills?
Yeah.
I think it was the Bills. I think he signed and then retired.
Yeah,
right.
The Bills were just like, no, we need a little help here.
We're going to call Brett Favre back, see if he wants to play again.
Yeah, like Kyle Orton, I believe he started 1-4 that season, and then Tebow. Oh no, this is the season in Denver when Tebow proceeded to win 8-4.
Oh yeah, he killed it.
So we're talking about obviously that defense did win a lot of games for him, but Tim Tebow and Vince Young, they're these guys who just have some kind of fourth quarter magic. If it's close and they have a chance, all of a sudden they play, head and shoulders better than they are. Vince Young was still great.
Oh yeah, rookie year he was outstanding. He did not make bright decisions.
And I don't think was it Coach Fisher over there?
Jeff Fisher. Like him.
Yeah, I don't think Fisher.
That was not good.
Fisher's a great coach.
Yeah,
so
not
I
a
will
good,
side
not
with
a good
Fisher on that.
relationship,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah, it's a situation where we were talking about it earlier with the Cowboys. Your head coach and your quarterback, y'all need to be buddies. You need to be on the same page. You don't need to be buddies, but you need to at least see eye to eye,
right,
because you
mutual respect.
Yeah, you're very much on the same level, and it's this is my question with Mariota now. It's very similar. Is the coach going to really get along with them, or is he going to fit to the tailor to the needs and the skill set of Mariota? That's the thing about those quarterbacks that like to run. You need to let them do what they do instead of try and make them do what you want them to do.
Right. I mean, you don't tell a quarterback stop running because that's their natural instinct. You want a quarterback to be instinctual, then let them do what they're going to do within your scheme. I like what you said there. Give them freedom because Eli Manning, some of the greatest passes he's ever had is the scrambling that he did. If you tell him not to scramble and to sit in the pocket, he doesn't win those Super Bowls.
Oh, yeah.
Those two lucky plays
those are all off of scrambles. So, I mean,
off of getting out of that pocket.
You got to get out of that pocket. You got to let them make the decisions on the field. Let them run free. Roger Staubach's one of the best to ever do it. Coach Landry just said, "Oh crap, he's running again." But did he tell him to stop? No, and he became one of the best quarterbacks in Cowboy history.
Roger Staubach came out as the number one quarterback for the last 75 years. First team. That's from the last 75 years.
Yeah. So
Riders came out with something. I forgot what it was called, but they came out with that list. Tim Tebow was the second team all quarter. This is college ranks.
Oh,
for
okay.
sure. College
I thought you were going
NFL players of all time.
And I'm like,
hey, that combination of him and Chris Leak was brilliant.
He's a tight end in the Wildcat formation, and it works.
Beautiful. Absolutely. You remember when he threw it left-handed? You don't see that. That's another one of those things. Do you think the coach said, "Hey, throw this left-handed"? Probably not. That was probably Tebow.
I thought Tebow was left-handed.
Right-handed. He threw it opposite hand. I'm sorry. He threw it opposite handed.
He jumped and threw it. I'm like,
It was the most ugly looking thing in the world, but it worked.
I'm not a Tebow guy. I'm not a Tebow guy.
I think the interesting thing about Tebow is, and it's like very weird and controversial because no one wants to talk about it, is that like he is that outstanding, outspoken man of faith. And then all of a sudden, you're just like, geez, maybe he does have a connection up there. It's like, so what's the phone number to heaven?
They spoofed him on SNL for that.
Yeah, there's so many things that you're just like, it's funny to think about in a way that it's just like, so you're that bad, but you're a winner, huh? It's kind of, it's like, well, what?
And it's not that I don't. I as a quarterback.
No, exactly.
I'm just not on the Tebow wagon.
Yeah, for sure.
The guy has the especially with the Jets. He's throwing those knuckleballs at the receiver.
Oh yeah, you could shoot them, man. They're ducks for sure.
The thing I say about Tebow is, and it goes back to the thing we're talking about with Vince Young and etc. You need to give him the keys to the offense. You need to let Tebow understand that he needs to make those zone reads. I think they were showing a statistic of zone read quarterback keepers, Tebow had like 75 in his career, and I think Sanchez only had 9. And we're talking about a team that really does run a lot of zone read naturally,
Right.
And so that's going to be the main thing. They actually run some interesting zone read plays, but
that's something to scheme for as a defense too, because he's a big boy. That's like tackling a fullback. You do not want to tackle a guy that big. You got to go low on him, and he likes to stiff arm. So that's even extra. That's more. That is more practice that you have to do to account for that quarterback pulling it.
I still think Tebow athletically is one of the best athletes at the quarterback position right now.
I just don't think the Texans.
Yeah,
Tebow.
I mean, really,
It's not Bill O'Brien's style.
Yeah, I can understand that, but at the same time, I still think that at least Tim Tebow's a proven winner over Brian Hoyer.
Well, yeah, but I would like to see Ryan Mallett. He did have a pretty good game. He had a couple of good games, then he got hurt.
Yeah.
So I would like to see Ryan Mallett, but I want to see it. I want to see what happens. Sometimes you just need a new attitude. Of course, Ryan Fitzpatrick had a pretty new attitude last year, and then he just fell off the wagon.
So season predictions, I think they're in the 7 to 9 win range. They could be a game under. They could be a game over. I don't think they're going to be bad to where we see them in the bottom or the top 10 picks of the draft. But I don't necessarily think we're going to see them being great to where it's like, oh, we're talking about them winning the Super Bowl. You know what I mean?
They're in the division
they're
of
not
the
Super Bowl. But not Super Bowl.
A team in their division is Super Bowl prediction worthy.
They're not going to win the division, but I think they walk out of there. If it
give them a wild card spot.
I don't know.
With that record.
Again, it's one of those things you just don't know yet because you haven't seen Hoyer. We know what Hoyer's like. We haven't seen Mallett play, so we don't know. And so I think I give him another 9-win season. I'm going to give him 9 wins this year. It's just they got Jacksonville. Of course, Bortles looked pretty good in his first game. So I'm not ready to say that it's going to be 9. I'm going to give him 9 wins. I think Bortles looked pretty good in his first game. I'm going to give him 9 wins in this first one.
I like to think Bill O'Brien can just take a hold of this team and really just put the pressure on them to win these games. I think that he's going to have the opportunity to make the quarterback choice and just go with it. I think it's one of those things that whoever wins it is going to win it outright. I don't want to see some bouncing back and forth like they had last year because this team needs consistency behind that O-line. So I honestly think go with Ryan Mallett. Hoyer's a good backup to have just in case he goes out, but let's play with Mallett.
They're going to need to run the football.
Absolutely.
That Alfred Blue or whoever's going to have the rock is going to need to run the football because that's going to be important.
Alfred Blue falls forward. That's a big boy.
That's a good thing.
Oh, man, he's big.
Of course, they had 7 tries last week in the preseason from the 1-yard line.
Couldn't get it.
Against the 49ers. Could not get in.
That's pathetic.
Cecil Shorts is the right side wide receiver. DeAndre Hopkins on the left side.
I like him.
You have the rookie Nate Washington from Tennessee. Uzoma Nwachukwu.
Easy Nwachukwu. He's from A&M. Yeah,
he's been off and on. He's always been on the preseason squad for the Texans. He just hasn't. And I think he was on the Browns for a little bit.
Yeah, one of the easiest guys to talk to on the field, man. You want to interview? Go interview Easy. Great guy.
So that'll pretty much conclude our NFL talk. When we come back, we'll hit a little generational thing. I'm 24. Richie?
21.
22.
So we all remember in 64.
Woo!
We'll bring it back and talk a little bit. All right, we'll be back in a moment on the Sports Ramble podcast. And you're going to have that stuck in your head the rest of the day. You're welcome. That's the Mario theme, if you're not familiar with it. I honestly,
classic.
Yeah, I think that's something that will never really go out of style. I kind of like...
First game ever.
No, it wasn't the first game.
No, I'm saying for me.
Oh, for you.
For me.
I was like, wait.
I'm sorry. First game for the 64 that I ever had.
Oh, man. The 64 is so great. We all know how to fix a 64. Kids these days never know. If the game doesn't work, what do?
You blow in the cartridge.
Pull it out. You blow it in the cartridge. I'm going to hashtag that. Blow it in the cartridge, people.
I remember that, man. That's something.
Yeah, I'm going through dorkly.com, and I went through top 25. I mean, you can guess some of these on here. You got Mario Tennis.
I'm right there with you.
Diddy Kong Racing. Oh, man.
Diddy Kong Racing.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Was it Donkey Kong Country? I remember I liked that one, but I don't think I ever owned it.
DK64.
DK64. Mario Party. Pokemon.
That was the game that came out when you started to need a memory card.
That's right.
Yeah, and I remember I couldn't play it at first because I didn't have a memory card. I was so upset.
Well, a game built in with the memory card is Zelda. That saved 3 people could play that game on their own time and save, it, wherever they were, it would save it. It was awesome.
The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time is probably my number 1 game of all time. I know I've played it probably at least 50 times from start to finish.
Well, you need a book to beat it. I had to use the guide to beat this thing. The map was huge. How did they even get that all on one chip? I love that game.
I never got into Zelda.
Oh. No? I have a friend who has a Zelda tattoo.
I got everything Mario, Pokemon, all that. Pokemon Stadium.
Yeah, I remember Pokemon
Mario
Stadium.
Golf, all that stuff.
Well, what was cool about Mario 64 is it was just like Zelda. It was a ton of maps. You could go anywhere, and you could have you had little goals to hit that required you to do something different every time. That's so cool.
Do you have Mario Tennis? Please don't.
I have Mario Tennis.
Mario Tennis is great.
Your hands are sweating so bad after a match.
I remember it was the last cup. As you move through, it gets harder and harder.
Right.
Yeah.
Freaking Bowser, man. Freaking Bowser playing. That guy had the hardest serve. You just couldn't catch him.
Yeah.
You just couldn't get the serve. I remember I was so upset. I remember throwing my... I'm really competitive, so I'll throw the controller every now and then.
It can take it. It's a 64.
Yeah, and I'm like...
You don't get the red ring of death there.
Like, I can't catch his serve. His serve is too fast.
I never had the problem with it, but a lot of people I knew had the joystick breaking problem.
Yes. That's because you always think the harder I press, the faster it'll go. And when you're playing Mario Kart, the harder I press, the faster it'll go. And you break so many things. The joystick, absolutely. Going too hard, like on Smash Brothers, oh my gosh.
All right, so top 3. We're just going to do 3 games. Top 3 games.
Okay, I'll give you my number 1, which was Ocarina of Time. Are we talking all time or
all time?
All
64?
All time. You can do 3 or 5, whatever you want to do.
Okay, I can give you another one right now. It's a game that takes a little while to get into, but once you get into it, you almost get addicted, and it's available on the 360. It's Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, and that one is literally the first game I've ever played that you see it, you can go there.
Oh, yeah.
Like, literally,
That's cool.
No invisible walls.
Yeah,
nothing.
no restrictions. That's awesome.
Yeah, and it's such a huge game. There's something of everything. It's a gorgeous game. Like, we go on, and that one's probably always going to be one of my favorites. I played through it a couple times, and you can always, like, change your character. Like, you can be an archer, swordsman, a magician.
That's cool.
Yeah, and you go through all the, like, you could literally probably go 20-something hours and not even touch the main quest. It's absolutely ridiculous. If you have a 360, it's worth looking into, and I think you can get it on most computers too. It's an older game. I think it came out like in 07, 06, so it's available to pick up. Number 3, I'm probably going to have to go with any Pokemon game because I really like that series from when I was a kid, I could still pick up like a handheld and just kill an airplane flight with that. Start up a new game, and it's like, yeah, I'm going to get that Charmander or something.
Who do you start out with? That's the question.
Generations kind of... I wasn't a big fan of, like, the first...
Yu-Gi-Oh! First Pokemon.
First Pokemon games, but as like... Like Sapphire and Ruby, I loved those.
Oh, I dropped out when that happened.
Like, you dropped out.
I was at red. Yellow was the last one.
The yellow was probably great because everybody who was into it was very into the show, and then you got all 3 starters of Charmander, Bulbasaur, Squirtle, and that was real tight. And I thought that one was good, and that one was the first one that kind of like introduced like more of a Team Rocket evil entity.
Right.
There's a great meme of like Professor Oak that says it's too dangerous to go out in the tall grass without a Pokemon. Now you have a Pokemon, take out the evil syndicate. It's like, oh, you're only 10 years old, you can handle it. But yeah, I think those are my top 3 because any Pokemon game I could probably pick up. I'm not much of a turn-based. I'm more of a live action, but those are more of a strategy game that I think I'll never really outgrow. And the fact is, it's
still popular.
It's one of the highest grossing games of all time.
Sure.
I think GTA passed it up. And GTA, you know what? I'm not gonna lie. GTA 5 is definitely up there. I bought that for the PS4, and there are times where like you can play that in the first person. There are times where I feel like life is now a video game because it looks that good.
Yeah,
I heard it's based. It looks like the city of Los Angeles.
Yeah, it's basically the city of Los Angeles. They call it Los Santos.
Yeah, but it's based. I know because I recognized it when I was watching all the. I want to get that. That sounds really fun.
Yeah, you get that on next gen, and I promise you start to question reality a little bit every now and then.
Well, I mean, that's probably why I have some of these shootings that goes on too. These kids getting too into it.
Good. Well,
yeah, that's true. You guys got any top games?
I love. Again, Mario was like Super Mario 64 was like the all-time favorite game because it just
so much fun.
My dad used to be a big gamer, and my dad and I used to play that game all day, at night, and we got all the 120 stars, and I mean we did. That was really fun. Was playing that game, and then I think any of the Pokemon games, and then after that you can just say. Like Mario Golf, Mario Tennis, Mario Party, or just I was a Mario guy and a Pokemon guy. You can just say that. And Diddy Kong Racing and stuff.
And Mario is easily the most famous Italian. I can't name anybody.
How about Mario Kart? You get that?
Heck yeah, you could drift in it.
Mario Kart.
That was the second
Rainbow Road, man, trippy. My eyes hurt every time after playing Mario Kart.
Someone put up a little thing on Facebook or Twitter. It's like. You shouldn't be able to get your driver's license until you can play Rainbow Road without falling off.
Yes, man. That first big jump, I always fell off.
I think the Mario Kart Wii version of
with the actual wheel. So
that one's the hardest one.
Oh,
sometimes you gotta they can get.
Yeah.
And they even offered it to where you could play with like a GameCube controller or something because they understand that it's like,
that's harder.
A lot of kids probably think that you really like, especially as a driver, like you're a little easier, but like, as a kid, you don't understand. You're very exaggerated. Yeah, very exaggerated. And honestly, Mario Kart, when I was a kid, I used to always just constantly accelerate. And thank goodness I played Forza, which is a racing simulator.
Awesome.
And the first thing I did was I treated it like it was Mario Kart. So I'm like booking it. I'm just pedal to the metal. And like this first turn, I'm passing everybody. And I'm just like, yeah, because I'm still going. And I try to turn. And all of a sudden the car basically just flips. It goes way off the track. And I'm like, oh, so you can't do that. And I think I was like 14 at the time. If I had not ever played that game, I probably would have gotten into an accident in real life. Yeah,
learning life lessons early on.
Yeah, so thank goodness for Forza to teach me a couple things. What you got, Trevor?
Man, number one all time, and it takes me back to junior year going into senior year, summer football. You guys remember summer football camps? You get your workouts done in the morning, you're exhausted. We'd all go back to the house, pull on our Xbox 360 headsets, get in a group of 10 and play Ground War on Modern Warfare 2.
Okay.
And it was incredible.
We're talking Nintendo. I thought we were talking Nintendo.
Oh, any game.
He brought up 360, so I was like,
any game. Okay, well you keep.
And we go back to you.
Okay.
Yeah, number one overall, man, because you can get in that AC 130, you can drop bombs on people, you can get the nuke, 25 kills in a row, and we would just get a rampage team and just run through kids all day for about 4 hours and just have a great time. That's fun.
That's the best part when you can like find a group of like when I guess before I got into college, really, everybody I knew, like, your free time was you didn't have a car, so you went on, like, your gaming system.
Yep.
It's like, hey, let's hop on Xbox Live, and most hours spent on Xbox Live was Gears of War.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
Gears of War was intense. So scary game. You play that at night, man, you get creeped out a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Something is very, very good. And, they're remastering it for the Xbox One.
Mm-hmm.
So if
they need to do that. They need to do, like, a Gears remastering, Call of Duty, all of them, all the way through for Xbox One, because I don't have one. And once I get it, I want to be able to play those old games.
And you want to know something? Mass Effect. The very first one, that one was actually one that I love too. Go ahead, though, Richie.
B,
I'm gonna
through your curveball there.
The first two.
Okay.
The first two, Mario, no doubt. Anything Mario was great.
Yeah, absolutely.
The game that stuck with me through my whole high school career was Mario Party. That stuck through my whole career.
Heck yeah, man!
You could still
get a
play
group
that
of
now.
friends.
You can still play that now.
Oh yeah.
I don't have a Wii U, but they still make that game.
Yeah, I didn't get into the Wii U. Was not.
They based a lot of games off of it. Fusion Frenzy for Xbox. I mean, you just have these creative games you can do. It's so much fun.
Mario Party 3 on the Nintendo 64 was the best one, and 4.
You lose sleep playing that
Mario Party,
game.
period.
Yeah.
Any Mario game was number one. Pokemon Stadium, all that Pokemon Coliseum. I liked that.
Yeah. I mean, call us nerds, but I mean, growing up, that was the thing to do. I don't know what you kids watch these days, but that was our thing.
I think it's interesting. It'll be weird for us because our parents didn't quite understand the video games, and I think parents nowadays do.
Yeah.
Like we're talking like under 35. They were also gamers,
sure.
and we're going to hit a point where almost every kid will have a cell phone, and you can at least mobile game. By the time they're like 10,
which bothers me.
It's going to be interesting parenting decisions that we have to
absolutely
make. Because our parents don't quite understand it at a certain rate because but we're addicted to our phones.
Oh, I had the Nokia brick when I was in I think 7th grade. Yeah, I
had the Razor.
Oh, the Razor was one of the best. I would use a Razor if it was still there. I would use it.
I love
it.
Razor. I was embarrassing.
No, dude, that was like the best
time
phone ever.
It was good, but then
unless yours was pink,
you can't be walking around with a Razor nowadays.
Oh, people would stare at you.
People be like, "What is that?"
You have to click the buttons. What?
You had to press the one in order to text. You had to press the same button 3 times to get to one letter.
You could text in your pocket though. That was the best because you knew exactly where those letters were. Oh, it's awesome. I love that phone.
Nintendo has said that they're going to look into mobile gaming because it's hurting their market where no one's going to carry around a 3DS anymore or whatever.
No.
So
it looks extremely bad.
No one wants it.
Only if I'm traveling, honestly. I'm not someone who will bring it to work unless I won't do it like at a professional level, but when I was running the board back at KTSW in San Marcos, I'd be running the board for baseball games, and I'd have an ear open and just be on the little handheld or on my computer.
Oh, yeah. You find things to do when you're running the board, whether it's do a workout or watch a movie, read a book. Especially baseball, you just have to listen for it.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, running the board is basically the people who sit in the room and listen to the game, and once they say, let's hit a commercial break, we're the ones who turn off the guys that are at the game and turn up the commercials. So you might not like us as people, but we do our jobs. That's what we got to do. If there were no commercials, there would be no money to be made.
Exactly. Radio needs commercials. Live with it.
Yeah. So, any other additions? Because
then we get into the Madden and all that stuff. Obviously.
Here's my thing. I love Madden for 3 weeks, and I can always play it at somebody's place. But every time I actually buy it, after
goes on the shelf.
After the honeymoon period, there's like a little honeymoon period, and I'm just like, I spent $60 on you. It's like I don't really like it.
That's the thing. I'll play like right now. I'll say like it depends on the time of the year.
Right. Absolutely.
I'll play. I get everything. I got baseball. I've got NBA, and I get Madden, and then of course I get Call of Duty and stuff like that.
I'm first person shooter all the way. I can't play sports games.
But I love Madden and I love those games. And when they took NCAA football away, I was upset.
Yeah. And
that was depressing.
That was one of my biggest bragging points. I got to be on NCAA 2012.
Oh, really?
I got to be on it, and people flipped. But I mean, it wasn't a big deal.
Did you take any money from the Ed O'Bannon case?
No, I didn't. No, I probably
you can still look into that. you can still look into it. I think
my face did not look like it should on that game. I look like some random dude.
No, that's the point. Like they have all of your like physicals down. Like what are you 6'1", 6'2",
6'1",
like 210.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and they'll have that, and then they'll randomize the face because they don't want it to look like you.
Okay, I was like,
What was
okay,
your
this
rating?
doesn't look at me. Oh, I was a freshman, so it was
so
pretty
you got
bad.
like 50 or something?
It was bad, yeah. But I got to be on the game. It was cool feeling.
Yeah, that is cool. I know we had a quarterback, and he didn't have dreads, and they gave him just like super long dreads. And,
Wait, was this from McNeil?
No, this is from Texas State.
Texas State,
Texas
okay.
State.
Okay.
And like everything else was right, like in terms of like a dual threat quarterback.
Right.
But, obviously the face didn't look right there, but it's still you know what I mean? But it's not. So like I was joking around like when I first got it, I knew Terrence Franks, who was our running back, and he was our starter, and he was fast, and they made him fast in this game. So like I didn't realize what level I should have it on, so I just went with the default, and I dropped like 100 points on Alabama in the first game or something. And I'm just like, okay, I need to up the level a little bit right here. But Terrence Franks is a beast on it. He was real excited. He was like, yep, he's on it too. So it's
Hopefully
cool.
they do that to Florida State this year.
Yeah, we'll have to see what when the NCAA games come back. I think it would be real cool. I like what FIFA does, where they have everybody. You know what I mean? Like they have Brazilian leagues, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
If like NBA 2K could just be like NBA like basketball 2015 or something, and they have the D League and they have the European.
Yeah,
leagues.
if you have some European leagues, that'd be cool to compete with some of these NBA teams.
Get the schedules
Different
in
style,
there. They have a few. They have the Euro League teams. They don't have anything outside of the Euro League teams.
Right.
But
I think that's a cool concept though.
Yeah, like that was really cool by FIFA. And then obviously they kind of have it in the MLB The Show. Don't they have every minor league team?
Yeah.
Obviously it's a
they
generic
have
stadium,
down
but-
to AA.
Down double A, no Class A
No,
ball.
well, you can't play Class A ball. You can send somebody down to Class A, but you can't. They can't play as the Class A.
If you don't like somebody,
you can play as
send
the
them
AA team. You can play as the AAA and the MLB.
But they actually have the name of the Class A organization, right?
Yeah.
That's
and
pretty
they
cool.
They wouldn't get into independent league. That's a little too much,
No,
right? There's
yeah,
a lot
sugar
of
And I'll
and
say
Peters.
that they don't have every player's name down.
No, and that's
we forgive them for that. That's okay.
Other than they have the main people down.
But everybody has like a sports information director or something like that at schools, and they have situations where, I guess it would be too much to ask the coaches to do that, and sometimes you're going to deal with media people who don't understand it. But like, this is what he does. This is where he's going to be starting or something. This is his name. These
You
are
can pay
his
somebody to
physicals.
do that. There's definitely people out there that are interested.
Yeah, scout every single thing, and with how much video games would make off that,
Yeah.
that'd be amazing.
There's just one extra detail to put money on for sure.
Well, okay. I think we're back on. It looks like we might have lost it for a second, but I think we're back on. But I think that almost wraps it up. We've gone for about 55 minutes now. For Richie and for Trevor, I'm Karl. This was the Sports Ramble podcast. Keep it tuned in. We're gonna keep doing more of these. Nobody listened live, unfortunately, but
It's a Saturday.
yeah.
We
But
forgive y'all.
yeah, but you can listen to it live. We didn't even publicize this, honestly. So
No.
no harm, no foul on that end. But yeah, thanks for listening, guys. And it's funny, we didn't even mention it, but our little outro, you said you like the Bomberman music.
Yes.
So this one is Redial.
Redial.
So we'll exit with this one.
Club music.
Yeah, thanks for listening, guys. And
Peace.
yeah, we'll see you next time.